Painting Pictures, an overview of early hand-colored photographs. It's safe to say that the introduction of the daguerreotype, the first stable and commercially available photographic process, produced a new medium of expression in 1839. However, this medium was not without its faults. A distinct lack of color prompted artists to hand-color photos, as reductions in both time and money when compared to seated portraiture popularized photography. As photography improved, details became more defined and exposure times lessened. Hand coloring evolved slowly alongside photographic technology and spread throughout the world, proving popular even in Morris County, where even the cranes of Acorn Hall had 3 of their photos painted. Until the release of Kodak's Kodachrome color film in 1934, hand coloring was desired as another aspect of photorealism, with the first 3 decades worth of hand coloring techniques proving innovative and continuously more accessible. Early daguerreotype hand coloring was tricky in that most pigments would not adhere to a chemically coated surface. Between 1839 and 1841, Johann Baptist Insering, arguably the first artist to promote hand-colored photos in a professional setting, colored photos using oil paint. This presented an overpainted look against metallic-based daguerreotypes. An alternative method involved powdered pigment application to silver-type photos, done by gently blowing pigment powder onto the image, in the hopes that it would stick. At the risk of having pigment powder displaced throughout photos, after 1842, artists employed the use of stencils and diluted gum arabic to adhere powder to specific sections. This method still required artists to blow the powder to melt the diluted gum arabic, allowing pigment to adhere to the metal. As technology advanced in the 1850s, images were produced on porcelain, glass, and paper. Image printing on paper had actually been around since 1841. These photos were known as calotypes. They did not become popular until their patent was lifted in 1853. Scholars believe lack of patent protection aided in the proliferation of daguerreotypes over other photographic mediums, despite other mediums lending themselves to a wider range of paints and pigments. In the cases of glass and porcelain, pigments could be kiln-fired, providing better staying power compared to daguerreotypes. Watercolors, oil paints, pastels, and chalks became optional pigments at this time, thus lowering the price of hand coloring as the task became less specialized. The 1860s saw a sharp rise in the popularity of hand-colored photos as painting techniques were slowly perfected and magic lanterns began providing projected images, allowing artists to enlarge images and transfer or trace them onto canvas. Photographers could then provide classically styled portrait painting services, solidifying relationships between painters and photographers, as these portraits were less expensive than paintings which required long sittings. This service also provided the detail and realism that often went uncaptured in conventional oil portraits. When photography first appeared on the scene, people worried about whether classical painting skills would be lost thanks to photography's exacting detail. Despite worries, both art forms continued to evolve separately, save for select photographers and artists who performed and promoted mixed art forms now mostly forgotten. Even though we now live in a world where color is expected in our digital photos, it's important to remember that it took trial, error, and over 100 years to achieve color photography, and technically Kodak wasn't the first to provide it. Talented artists, chemists, and photographers were. Thank you for attending this vlog. For more information on all these different phototypes, please visit morriscountyhistory.org. Thank you.